Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Kaneshiro. As we enter our second year dealing with COVID-19, the effects of the pandemic on our lives and daily routines continue to cause great anxiety in our community. Of most concern to Fremont Unified School District is students dealing with the distance learning and isolation from friends and family. A group of Fremont Unified School counselors working to provide families with the strategies to help their students work through their anxiety and to continue to learn and thrive. Here with us today to talk about these strategies are counselors Marcella, I'm sorry, did you say last name one more? Amesqua, sorry about that. Fabiola Camarillo and Rebecca Glaze. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry I butchered your name.
Oh, no, don't worry. Thank you for having us.
Of course. I'm really anxious, or excited, I should say, about interviewing this because mental illness has always been a big passion of mine because you see it everywhere. But it is because of the COVID-19, a lot of people are anxious and how they're dealing with everything. Because our whole lives have shut down pretty much, except through via Zoom, which we're grateful for. But what specific aspects of living under COVID-19 that are causing the most anxiety with students and adults?
Well, right before we dive right into that, we just actually wanted to overall thank you for having us. We're very passionate about the mental health aspect. And specifically this week where we're celebrating National School Counseling Week. So it means a lot to us to be able to sit here and talk about what we're passionate about. And to get right into it, one of the things we've noticed talking across the board from K through 12 is the uncertainty of the pandemic, of when it will end. Students having a lot of questions about when things will go back to normal and what that normal might even look like. It's been brought up a lot in conversation with, hey, I miss seeing my friends, I miss seeing my teacher, they miss the routines, and they won't identify that as routines, right? But they will tell you those things, the small things that they've been missing, but definitely the uncertainty. And we're not able to give them any specific answers. So it doesn't take away the anxiety around that, but definitely it provides us with that avenue to address what anxiety is and how to better manage it. Again, the social interactions with the friends and the family, it's just a big thing that they're missing at the moment. And I think as counselors, we're trying to create different avenues to provide them with those social times, even through Zoom. But definitely other things that we've seen is also parents juggling their own work, right? With also now their kids' work. It's a lot for parents. So that's also another area that we're seeing where we're supporting our parents even more than ever now, I think. And
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah, I hope so. But I've been very grateful to be able to make more connections with our parents across Fremont. We were, the three of us, very grateful for the opportunity to provide a parent presentation on helping their children manage anxiety, because we've talked to parents a lot. We hear from them firsthand with what's going on and what they're seeing at home. Everything is just so different and so new for everyone. And another thing that I want to point out is also safety for younger children. I think they're very scared, speaking as an elementary school counselor, about the virus. That's been something else that's provoked a lot of anxiety. I've had situations where students are just very scared to touch anything at home or to even leave their house. So we're definitely seeing how this pandemic is having a lot of effect on our students' mental well-being.
So let's back up for a second. Can you tell everyone which schools you guys are with, and do you travel to different schools, or is that school only your domain?
So I'm at Cabrillo and at Forest Park Elementary. So I work at Cabrillo 3 times out of the week, and then Forest Park 2 times out of the week. But during distance learning, that's been a bit hard to draw those boundaries, honestly. It almost feels like as a counselor, I'm working 2 full times for 2 different schools.
Yeah.
Because the needs especially now are just so high, and I think it's really highlighting how important our children's mental well-being is, and why it's so important to have counselors at our sites.
Yeah. Rebecca, where you?
I'm at Centerville,
Centerville?
junior high. So yeah, I'm just 7th grade at Centerville, which is really nice. I only have 500 kids on my caseload.
Only 500.
Marcella and Fabiola have about 1,000 each. So it's a blessing for me to only have 500. But you can see how that it does really stretch us thin when we're trying to support an individual student. And with distance learning, there are a lot of individual students who need support. It's hard to run groups. It's hard to connect with kids, multiple kids at the same time. So you do just really have to manage your time and feel constantly like you're running.
Fabiola, what schools are you with?
Hi, so I'm at Blake Elementary and Mission Valley Elementary. So like Becca said, we definitely have over 1,000 kids, so being stretched thin. But since I'm talking, I do want to take the time that, as Marcella said, that this is School Counselor Appreciation Week. And counselors are governed by the American School Counselor Association. It's a board. It's who gives us our standards on being able to have the same standard, academic standards, right, in education as in counseling. And so thank you, KK and Brian Kilgore, for just allowing us in this platform, because the appreciation of counselors is not us being appreciated, but our board, it's a platform for us to give the information that's out there to parents, to our stakeholders in these type of platforms, so that people get more awareness of what school counseling is and the need, right? I think before pre-pandemic, yes, there was a lot of studies on mental health and social emotional learning in schools, but I think now that it's being more emphasized because they're seeing the issues with mental health. And so thank you for allowing us in this platform, and that the need is high. And we definitely have our work cut out. I did want to add to the question that you just asked, Marcella. I think one of the another additional important factor is role modeling, because we're all at home more and parents and kids are now connecting more. When I ask kids, when I go into the classrooms and I ask them, what's one thing that's more positive about being at home, right? So that they look at, it's not all bad. There is positives to being at home, right? So to get them motivated. And they all say the time they spend with their mom and dad. And so because of that, I wanted to emphasize the importance of role modeling, because as adults, sometimes, right, when we have challenges, we're like, oh, we're in that moment, but we don't realize that we have an audience and our kids are audiences. And so when we're making comments like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? When can you go back to school? The kids are feeling that, and then gives them the anxiety. So it's counterproductive, right? That we don't want to add to their anxiety and stress, but always know that if you don't see your child, they're around the house. And so they're hearing how we handle stress and anxiety, even if it's like something breaks. Oh my God. But if, oh, it's okay, I'm going to clean it up and it's no worries, it's fixable, it's not the end of the world. When you have that type of example, then kids are learning how to role model, how to just identify their feelings and use a strategy, right, of just being in the calm, because it's hard to be in the calm right now. And so it takes just a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
And that's hopefully in the additional questions we'll get to, we'll focus on that. So,
well, I think I can speak on behalf of Brian, but we are honored that you guys are agreed to be on the show. It's just been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and meet you. Finally, I got faces. Now, even without a pandemic, everybody in this whole world has some level of anxiety that they have to deal with throughout their lives. At what point should family members or friends be concerned when that friend or family member, their anxiety level is just not solvable?
Yeah, and very good question, because with mental health, there is a point, right? That's
Right.
that breaking point
Right.
that we don't want to get to.
Right.
And so how do we ask for support, but know that we're at that verge? And so it's really when you're not finding an instant relief and a self-care regimen. So I go in and I've done a lot of presentations on self-care to parents, to staff. And when we're not finding that instant relief in the things that we used to, or the things we enjoy doing, that's when we need to talk to our brain and be like, something's up. Who do I go to? And it's not so much of where's the resources are, because as school counselors, we know the resources. So the great place to start is your school counselor, whether it's elementary, middle, high school. That's the place to start. And even the counselor website or the school website or the district website, because I'm amazed too that often I get these emails of just the stuff that they're adding into the Fremont Unified School District website, that there is a lot of mental health support on there too.
Yeah.
So just being able to at least know who to go to so that they can help you, like the counselor, get that information that you need. And if that's too much, then at least explore the websites. Every counselor has a school website. Under their school website, just go into the teacher tabs, find the school counselor and just start there, or the district website.
Okay, but so from my life experiences, when someone has anxiety that bad, sometimes they don't even know how to ask for help. So as a family member, how do you encourage that family member to handle the situation? Because it's tricky.
It is, because we can't help someone who's not ready to be helped. And that's the hard one, right? That's the thing that all
Or they don't know they need help.
Yes, well, no, that's why I said when you're not finding an instant relief on the self-care regimens, right?
Yeah.
So it could be, I used to enjoy walks and now I don't. I can't even get out of bed. So when it's impeding in your daily functioning,
Mhm.
there's something there. So
Okay.
it's talking to someone, whether emailing your doctor, a friend, even the counselor, like, hey, I'm struggling with this, and then just, pick their ear around what are some strategies. So you're right, it is harder to know when it impedes in our daily life and we're not finding instant relief in the things that we used to find enjoyable, just moments.
Right.
That's when it's time to ask for help. And we don't necessarily need to know where, just who to go to. So counselor, the school website, the district website, even a friend. As an elementary school counselor, you'll be surprised. I get so many referrals from friends. My friend needs your help. And so same thing as adults. Who can we talk to, a sister, a brother, or as an adult or a friend
Yeah.
to help us realize, okay, I'm at the point where I need help. So by talking to someone, obviously it's a lot harder because we're in isolation, but it's so important at this point that we can communicate like this. And that's the power of technology, right? Technology cannot be our friend, but it can be. And in this way, it's that virtual, just being able to connect with even people you haven't connected in years.
Yeah.
Because now it's the norm of having Zoom meetings or Google Meets, right? Like this. So just getting into the new norm.
Great.
I think something to note though is I think you were asking KK about what if the person who's experiencing the anxiety isn't aware. So as a parent, I think when you start noticing the things that Fabiola mentioned, when you notice your child is in their room isolated for long periods of time, and that's not something that you used to notice, or you notice that their mood is very different, that all of a sudden everything bothers them and they're just very aggressive towards you, or the way they to you, or their siblings or family members, and the student might not realize that they're experiencing or dealing with anxiety. So as a parent, I think my suggestion would be that if you've tried to talk to your child, or you might not even know how to talk to your child, getting the support and starting perhaps with the school counselor, like, hey, I've noticed these patterns.
Okay.
Should I be concerned? How do I talk to my child? And that's what we're here for, to also support the parents in helping them talk to their child when it might be something that they've never done. We know that a lot of have never had to have these conversations with their kids.
Right.
And sometimes we even join them in that conversation.
Oh,
And
good.
with their child and them over Zoom, like, hey, we're just concerned. We've heard your parents have noticed, and we're able to have those check-ins with our students too. That's another resource, something else I wanted to put out there.
Okay, so what are some of the strategies that you guys offer for parents to help their children in dealing with anything? Rebecca?
So some of the ones we highlighted when we did the parent meeting a few weeks ago were our self-regulation training board, which is actually something that I do as a mom for my own children. I have kids in Fremont Unified. Yay to our district, such a great place to be. And we talked about deep breathing, and we talked about circles of regulation. But, you know, I just want to share, as a mom of students in Fremont, children anywhere, right? Like, it's a disservice to assume that adults aren't having anxiety right now too, because anxiety is a safety response to help us anytime that we perceive a fear or a danger. And in the middle of a global pandemic, you should have some anxiety. That's a normal response. So to all parents, you're normal if you're stressing out right now. That is a normal response. And it's
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I'm freaking out right now. It's okay. But the strategies that we try to work with our students on, and families, because all of us benefit from these same strategies. There's no growing out of anxiety. There's no mastering it and not feeling it anymore.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes my 6-year-old is better at regulating her anxiety than I am, because she's practicing her deep breathing. She's recognizing her warning signs, and I'm just stressing out because nobody can get on Zoom right now, right? So,
But you know, you bring up one of my favorite things. Whenever everything is stressful, I always remind myself, just breathe for just a second, just breathe. So why is that simple task so helpful?
yeah, because a panic attack is literally the lack of oxygen to your brain, right?
Oh.
So if you imagine, you know, something that you can do with any is that there's the amygdala in our brain. For little kids, they call it the dinosaur brain, but it's the base of your brain, and it's in charge of our emotions. It's just our boom response, right? And then you have your prefrontal cortex, which kind of wraps it, and it's your rational self. It's your evolved self. But if we go into a panic mode and have a lot of anxiety, we flip our top, we flip out, and our amygdala takes over. So we just go into panic mode, go into response. So one of the best things to do to help regulate us is to recognize our warning signs as we start to flip. And do something to bring that back into focus, right? Bring that back into rational self. Taking a deep breath is a great way to do that. Good posture. You're taking a breath is a really great way to do that. I've actually learned a lot of those techniques from Fabiola. We do that for our mindfulness club with our junior high kids every Wednesday. And every week I go into the meeting kind of stressed about, like, oh, I hope they like this activity I'm going to do. And as we do the breathing to start the activity, it just calms me, and I feel so much better, and they feel so much better. And for our whole group, the kids and the adults, we all just have really benefited so much from that deep breathing once a week. But it takes maybe 30 seconds to do 6 deep breaths, and 6 deep breaths makes a big difference. So if you can recognize those signs, take a break and take 6 deep breaths for 30 seconds. It changes your next hour of your day.
It does.
It's not yelling at your child. It changes not shutting your door and leaving everyone out, or it makes the whole day better.
So we have time for one more question, and I really want to cover this part, but can you discuss the circle of control? What is that about? What does it mean? How does this help me?
Yeah, I brought a copy. I have a billion of these. This is like one of my favorite things. And I do this a lot with my junior hires. I did this a lot with my high schoolers. When I worked with the high school kids at Washington, it's a great strategy. It's really just recognizing a lot of times, again, anxiety is when we feel out of control.
Right.
And it's recognizing what we do have control of, and then letting go of those things that we don't have control of. So it's not lying to ourselves and trying to feel like we are in control. Obviously, I can't control a global pandemic, But it's
But what are some of the things that we can control?
sure. So in a normal circle of control, right? So I can control my words.
Okay.
I can control my behavior.
Mhm.
I can control my actions and my responses. I can control how hard I try. I can control the consequences that I earn from my actions.
Love those words.
I cannot control other people's ideas.
Yes.
I cannot control other opinions. I cannot control the consequences other people earn from their actions. I cannot control other people's mistakes, and I cannot control other people's words. So that's a normal
Is that
circle.
site somewhere?
You can Google it. This one's from Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Teachers pay teachers. Teachers pay teachers have some great ones too. I found one online that I shared on our presentation that's a circle of control for COVID. And it was really great because it talked about I can't control the government's decisions.
Yes.
I can't control how fast the vaccine comes out.
Right.
I can control wearing my mask. I can control social distancing. I can control washing my hands. So there are pieces that I have control of, and really just empowering yourself that you do have control even in this situation.
You know, I wish I could talk to you guys forever, but we can't. So I hope we can have you on the show again. I so appreciate you guys sharing what you guys are doing. You're doing a fabulous job. Congratulate you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you guys do. This is amazing. I wish you the best of luck, but until the next show, when I see you on, we'll talk more. From everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.